I'm now joined by Gilles Moec, Managing Director and Co-Head of European Economic Research at Deutsche Bank. Gilles, good morning.
Morning.
How soon before Portugal needs a bailout?
Actually, we've held the view that they needed a bailout quite soon, actually, because they've got two spikes in refinancing needs, one in April and one in June. In the current market conditions, it's going to be very hard for them to go through this on their own strength. And frankly, it's in Portugal's own interest to go to the FSF, because what they're doing at the moment is that they are accumulating debt at a very high interest rate. It's not yet sustainable because it has started only recently. But if it goes on for too long, then yes, it would set public debt on a very strange trajectory.
The problem is there could be a political vacuum, a power vacuum, with Mr. Socrates offering his resignation. So how would it go about that Portugal actually arranges a bailout in this environment?
Definitely, it complicates the matter because we've had the Irish experience. And the Irish experience was that the EU and the IMF thought they had cut a deal with Ireland, but what they had done is that they had cut a deal with an outgoing government, and basically that deal needs to be renegotiated now. I don't think this is something the European partners are really eager to do again. So yes, it complicates the matter. Technically, a caretaker government could negotiate with the IMF and the EU, there's no question about this, but the question would always be what kind of parliamentary backing does it have? So in the meantime, they can always start the negotiations to get a deal absolutely carved in stone. We may have to wait until we have a new government. In the meantime, how do you survive? There's one possibility, that is that around the auctions of sovereign paper by Portugal, the ECB intervenes massively in the secondary bond market.
Yeah. In the meantime, this casts a massive shadow over the EU meeting that kicks off today, finishes tomorrow, that was meant to roll out this massive plan that would sort everything out. Does it cast a shadow? Will there be problems emanating from what's happened in Portugal in the last 24 hours? I
would not call this a massive shadow, because I think it had become quite consensual that maybe Portugal would have to go to the FSF, and the very complicated political configuration of Portugal was probably already factored in, and it's another smallish country which is now at risk. This famous red line between the small peripherals and Spain seems to be holding fine, so it's a shadow, but I would not call this something. Yeah, not a massive one.
From the meeting itself, any surprises? I mean, a lot of it's been pre-announced already. They're going to obviously fine-tune what we've heard. What can we expect?
I don't think there's much more that we can expect. If anything, we'll probably have slight disappointments in terms of timing, for instance, because we know that we have issues from Finland, for instance, to get its seal of approval on all this. So the legal approval of all this may have to be pushed maybe into June. At the same time, on the ESM, it's now pretty clear what we're going to get. We got the terms of the ESM, and these are pretty precise. We know that the increase in the firing power comes from AAA countries, which is, I think, very important. So and on the SGP and the Stability and Growth Pact, it's also quite clear what we had from what the ECOFIN basically explains us what they're going to do. So what remains? EFSF, yes, we still don't know exactly how this will be beefed up, and it may take a few weeks to get there, and the final seal of approval coming from a number of countries. But really, the global architecture is now well known. Now
that Portugal probably will ask for a bailout, as you say, Gilles, does the focus truly turn to Spain? I mean, is it next?
I guess that Spain can't afford a mistake. That's really what it boils down to. Spain has managed over the last 6 months or so to differentiate itself more and more from the smaller peripherals. And for the time being, it's basically going along track. Where there's one issue that would need to be monitored quite carefully, and this is the issue of recapitalizing the cajas. We know that this has been a kind of a nagging issue in Spain. The government is willing to do something, probably not enough, or at least not as much as the market would want it to. But globally speaking, I think Spain is really doing a good job. We've seen the deficit falling. We've seen some structural reforms finally being implemented. So they have, I think, a more than even chance not to get too much contagion from what's happening now in Portugal.
Gilles, thanks very much for joining us today. Gilles Moec there from Deutsche Bank.